Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video, or I guess technically Fear the Walking Dead video. In this video here, I really wanted to focus on the Fear the Walking Dead trailer that we got like last week, I think it was, and instead of focusing on some of the Rick Grimes stuff, though I do touch on that a little bit here, at least in terms of how it relates to Morgan, I really wanted to talk about the actual story here, because I focused a lot on that, and then I did do a general trailer breakdown where I talked about just some of the more general stuff here, but I really do want to focus more on some of the other stuff, what the actual plot is going to be for this episode, for this season, because there's some interesting things here. There's some stuff that does seem to be pretty obvious. There's this new group that I'm really wondering, just what they're about, because I don't really understand the point of the group, and I'm really confused as to what Padre is and how much Padre does play a role in this whole story. And more than that, I'm really wondering about the time jump, because the time jump really does seem to really put a lot of this stuff into a different place. It really does refresh everything, and it makes our characters, I guess, be in different places than they were at the end of season 7. So it just kind of, it's a reset, right? So anyways, before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get more Walking Dead content like this. And also thank you guys so much for yesterday I did mention to go follow my friend on Twitch, and you guys definitely went and did that. So I'm super thankful for that, because you guys actually did push him over 50, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for that. I actually wanted to mention my brother's Twitch account, because I usually play, whenever I play games, I usually play games with these two guys, and yeah, I mean, obviously if I'm streaming on Twitch, you're gonna hear them a lot, just because, we're sort of like this little squad, I guess. My other brother will play with us here and there. It really depends on the game, so usually it's all 4 of us, but for the most part, it's usually just us 3, and so yeah, if you can go follow his Twitch channel, I'll leave a link down below. He's at 16 followers, so I mean, it would take a little bit to get to 50, but obviously, I mean, yeah, I think right now they're playing Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and I mean, he has face cam and everything like that, so yeah, definitely go give him a follow. I'll leave a link down below to his Twitch channel, and I should be streaming there very soon. I have the kids right now, so it's kind of hard to manage that, but the kids are going to be leaving tomorrow, at least for the night, so I should be able to actually get a Twitch stream in there, and I'm definitely going to be doing that. I don't know if a lot of you guys have noticed, but I did actually create a gaming channel, and I've been sort of uploading on there. I've just been testing some stuff out. I haven't really announced anything yet. I'm just kind of slowly getting things in motion here, because it's just, it's just fun. I'm just sort of doing all that as fun, and I play games a lot, so I want to, just be able to upload stuff onto there and just kind of, I don't know, hang out with you guys and talk about some stuff. So yeah, anyways, I'd appreciate it a lot. I'll leave a link down below to my brother's Twitch account if you guys want to give him a follow. But let's actually get into the Fear the Walking Dead trailer here. So the narrator, first of all, mentions in the very, very beginning of the trailer, you need to show us that you're committed to our vision. And I think this is likely referencing a lot of what we saw in season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead with Madison, which was basically you need to go and take all these kids or whatever and bring them here, And so I wonder if that is what we're seeing, right? If Padre is likely wanting Morgan to do the same thing, and I'm guessing Morgan is likely going to do that. Now, my whole thing with that is, obviously to us, that's going to seem really, really evil and all of that. But I do wonder if there is some sort of change that they're going to do writing wise here, where Padre is actually a really good place, right? Because story wise, I don't get what they're doing, because first of all, they're doing a 7-year time jump. So that tells me that Morgan and Madison were staying in Padre for that amount of time, for 7 years, right? And you got to think of just the whole thing and how big of a deal that is for Morgan specifically, because, I think for Morgan, he's 4 or 5 years into the apocalypse. I think, where season 7 ended, they're about 4 or 5 years in or something, right? So 7 years later to catch up with the Walking Dead's timeline, I mean, basically, for the majority of the time since Morgan left The Walking Dead after All Out War, he has spent that time at Padre, right? So that's a big deal for the character. And so that tells me that this place, I mean, maybe it's not necessarily a good place, but it might be, right? In season 6, or at least in season 7 too, they really reference this place as being this horrible place. But I do wonder if they're going to change that here for the final season, if there's going to be some changes that they make, just because obviously it is the final season, and I'm trying to overall think of what the story is going to be for The Walking Dead, because if you're ending the story here and you have 12 episodes, I don't know if the overall story is going to be they're this big threat, this major threat, right? And it's going to be wrapped up here in this final season. It might just be more of a philosophical thing, right? And there will be some villains, obviously, there will be that element to it, but there might be more focus on some of the characters and just some more of the lifestyle stuff. And I think that's probably why they're doing the 7-year time jump, to give us a lot more with the characters to advance certain things. If they were going to do another season, like a season 9, they probably wouldn't have jumped into doing a 7-year time jump right away, right? So, is Padre a good place? It's hard to say. It's hard to say, but because they're doing that 7-year time jump, it tells me that, like, I think it's possible. Like, I think it's actually very possible. Even though they're doing messed up things, maybe it's not as messed up because maybe this place is a really good place to live and they're actually saving people. I have no idea, because the first episode seems to focus on, like, the old timeline, right? Like, we do see that shot of them in the boat going through the river, and I don't think they're doing the time jump immediately, but at some point in that first episode, they're likely going to, right? So they're going to do a 7-year time jump. They're going to catch up to the Walking Dead's timeline. And so at that point, is he still at Padre? Is Morgan still doing that? We also see some shots of him encountering a new group. And again, there was a sign that says Padre is a lie. So are they the new villains, right? Is this new group against everything that Padre stands for? Like, they could ultimately be the good guys if Padre is in fact evil. Maybe Morgan, maybe he's been forced to live a certain way for a while. Maybe Padre is like this evil place, but this new group is going to help him out, kind of thing, and break Morgan and everyone else out, right? Like Madison and whatnot. Like, I wonder if that's the route they're going here with this. There's a lot of shots as well with Dwight and Sherry, so we know we're going to get a standalone episode with them, which I've always enjoyed their episodes. Like, I've always enjoyed those standalone episodes. I do want them to advance their overall story together, and to me, you can't really do that unless you have Negan around, right? Like, I think if you have that character around, then you could sort of advance their stories a little bit more. And that's why I want Dwight and Sherry to go to Dead City. I think it's perfect. I think once this show ends, have those two go to, I guess, Dead City season 2. I think there is so much drama there. There is so much you're able to do. Man, I think fans are going to love that. It's going to be, like, people are going to be so hyped for it. Like, it'd be such a big moment. And honestly, that's probably what they're planning on doing, right? Like, having Negan and Dwight reunited is something that fans have wanted for years now. It's been a really long time since those characters were together. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Obviously in the comic, Sherry does die, and she dies in a really weird way because she just kind of goes crazy. Like, Sherry was more of a crazier character in the comic, right? Like, on the show, she's just like any other character, right? But in the comic, she was a little crazy and went after Rick for a bunch of stuff. And then eventually, I think she just like fell, or Rick did something, but she fell. And then I think she snapped her neck or something on the ground. And it was an accident. It was a total accident. But I know that Dwight blamed Rick for it. And so I wonder if they're going to get into some of that stuff, like explore some of that storyline there. But you would have to change Sherry as a character, right? But they could. I mean, they definitely could do something like that. It would be a lot, though. I feel like Sherry in the comic was really a nothing character, right? And the character on the show is just so much different. She's so much more likable, and I don't know if they would do the same thing there. But yeah, anyways, my point is Dwight and Sherry are definitely really great characters. I hope they're used a lot better this season, but that's the same for all the other characters, right? Like, I want every character, I want the story to be better this season. Now, there is this one shot of this woman, and she's with this other woman here from that group I was talking about. And it looks like they know each other, like they're just so aware of each other. But the interesting thing is there's actually a shot before where you do see that woman with, I guess, Mo, and they're in a new location. So either this is Padre and that new group I was talking about is actually from Padre, or maybe this is a new location. It's hard to say exactly what's happening here. And that's why, there's question marks here. Like, are they trapped in Padre, right? Like, are Mo, Morgan, Grace, Madison, are they trapped here, and do they try to escape a lot of times, and they just get caught and brought back, kind of thing? Because there's actually some dialogue said by Morgan where he says, "Don't do what I did, don't run," sort of thing. And I'm wondering if Mo is trying to run away, because there's also a shot where it almost looks like they're in like this jail yard because there's spotlights and stuff and it's nighttime. It looks like maybe she was trying to run away. Maybe she actually does run away. And then Morgan goes out to try and find her, and that's how he ends up at his old house. Like, that's possible, right? And I think it would be a really cool thing to happen, like, that's such an organic thing to play out story-wise. I will say, in terms of what's happening with Madison, I have no idea. Like, Madison is just kind of around, and it seems like she's, you know, just based off of the trailer anyways, she's doing the same things that she did last season in that last episode. She's just sort of, she's marking those tallies on the wall. There is a shot with her and Daniel, so like that's interesting. You know, like what's happening there. They're actually reunited. Why are they together? Because they weren't before. It all depends on this time jump, and that's just, for me, that's where everything here is very confusing. It's just this time jump. What happens after the time jump, right? And so that's where I'm very fascinated with this show. And the show's premiering in literally a month from now. Like, it's April 12th, May 14th it's coming out. So I'm very excited. I really cannot wait. I do think this show is likely going to be, or at least this last season, I do think it's going to be pretty successful. I do think that, you know, at least fans of the show are going to like it. I don't see this season being, you know, as bad as season 7, because the trailer for season 7, there was something off about it. There were some cool visuals in the very beginning, but there was some stuff that just felt off story-wise, and it felt like they were going to be doing some other stuff with Strand, which, by the way, like, this trailer basically forgot all about Strand. So I'm wondering, you know, like, he definitely plays a role in all this too. What are they doing with him? I know they like, the showrunners have talked about doing a big reinvention for the character, which is a little frustrating because I felt like they were doing something really amazing with that character last season, and then they just sort of changed again, and they're not doing that with the character. They're not making him the villain anymore, and I really liked that aspect to it with Strand, because it really felt like we were exploring his downfall, because he was always like good or evil. He always just sort of walked the line, right? Like, ever since season 1, he's always done that, and it made that character so fascinating. It was really cool to see, you know, in season 7, just his downfall, even though, you know, the story overall made no sense. There was some stuff with the tower that was just really frustrating and quite boring, but I think that's why I wanted season 7 to end with Strand's death, because you're giving us this big moment and you're picking a direction with the character. But now it seems like they're reinventing the character. So does that mean he's going to be good now? Like, what exactly are they doing? Are they just going to do the opposite now with the character? So that could be really frustrating. We'll have to wait and see what they do with Strand. But in terms of the actual story with Padre, it does seem very interesting. I'm excited about the time jump. Morgan going to his old house, mentioning Rick, finding that gun, and just, you know, where are the characters going to end up by the end of the season. I'm really hyped for a lot of that. Remember, this trailer is just on the first 6 episodes here. We're going to get the other 6 episodes, I'm assuming, after Comic-Con, right? Because they're probably going to air the first 6 here from May to like mid-June. Dead City will premiere June 18th, which will probably be the finale or the mid-season finale for Fear Season 8. That'll go straight until Comic-Con at some point, end of July or early August. And then I'm assuming the second half for Fear the Walking Dead will premiere in August and go all the way until what, like October, where the Daryl spinoff will probably take place. So yeah, a lot of Walking Dead content, and it's literally starting in just a month from now, and I'm expecting over this next month for there to be a lot of promotion for Fear the Walking Dead. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, and remember, there's still the Rick and Michonne trailer, and that's likely coming out in the next couple of months. So there's going to be a lot to talk about here. So yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.